This survey is self-funded by Infotrak Research and Consulting, and we did it through the usual computer-assisted telephonic interview in our call center. We interviewed a total of 1,000 Kenyans, and these adult Kenyans, we were guided by the population census of 2019, so we distribute these 1,000 people based on those that are of adult or the legal age in Kenya, which is 18 years and above. The 1,000 sample size, we distributed it across, with Rift Valley taking a huge chunk of 256 of the 1,000. And of course, Coastal Region had the least at 91 persons. These 91 persons are later distributed to represent the different constituencies. From this research, which we conducted last month, we can report that the direction the country is headed currently, 58% feel the country is headed in the wrong direction. 58% feel the country is headed in the wrong direction, with only 19% feeling that the country is headed in the right direction. Then, of course, the similar 19% feel it's neither right or wrong direction. So those are like the undecided. And we have a total of 5% who either refuse to or prefer not to answer, and they do not even know, they can't tell what direction the country is headed at. If you look at this comparatively, over the period, we've done this over the period, so we took only 2022 data, that is December, all the way to March 2024. You can see it's been oscillating. In terms of the wrong direction, it has been above 50%. Not only last year in September, we had the least, and that is 53% who felt the country was headed in the wrong direction. And of course, it recorded the highest number of 30% who felt the country was headed in the right direction. So you can see, though there is a drop, we can report there is a drop of about 3%. That drop, if you check within our margin of error, it is slightly insignificant, because we moved in December from 61% to currently 58% of those who felt the country is headed in the wrong direction. But only a positive one for those that mentioned the right direction, currently at 19, though if you check December, it was at 18%. So with undecided moving from 17% in December and currently standing at 19%. We also checked this through the regions, and region-wise, we can see coastal, northeastern, and Nyanza. These are some of the regions, Nyanza, coastal, and western. These are some of the regions that are still recording high level of dissatisfaction, or that attribute to the country headed in the wrong direction. On the flip side, Nairobi and Rift Valley, Nairobi 32% opined that the country, Rift Valley 32% opined the country is headed in the right direction, with 21% of Nairobians feeling that the country is headed in the right direction. So what we can deduce that if you check through, it's only Rift Valley that did not have a majority of those that are either complaining, quote unquote, that the country is headed in the wrong direction, because only 45% of that. If we check here in terms of gender and age, we can see here there's not much difference between the male and female, because only 2% difference. So in terms of those who feel the country is headed in the wrong direction. But at least if you check the right direction, we can see a 5% gap between the female and the male. 22% of male feel the country is headed in the right direction. And I wouldn't be wrong to say, because most of them acclaimed, or the cliche, it's known that men provide for their households. So I believe they've started seeing some light at the end of the tunnel to attribute highly to this figure of about 2 or 1 in 5 saying the country is headed in the right direction. But age-wise, we can see this older, the 55 plus. Though in terms of the statistical numbers, they do not really form the majority of the sample that we spoke to, but quite a number are a bit dissatisfied, because a 68% is quite high. In fact, it's the highest. The only 60% we see also among the 18 to 26%, which forms the bulk of the nation, because our nation is mostly youthful. We also wanted to establish, as we've done before, the reasons that are attributed either to wrong direction of the country and the right direction of the country. So of the 19%, those who say that the country is headed in the right direction, what do they attribute it to? 3 key things, or 4 key things. We see here the peace that the country has enjoyed. I think until recently now, when we are having the doctor strike, we've been having very peaceful coexistence. That is at 31%. Then also the 23% mentioned that the executive is working well, or according to their wish. Then of course 21% mentioned a reduction or the affordability for the cost of living. 22%, with 21% mentioning devolution has made a difference. Those are the key 4 reasons. But of course, you can see here 13%, my candidate in power, education has improved, the country is actively fighting corruption, mentioned by 10%. Then on the flip side, for those 58% who mentioned that the country is headed in the wrong direction, the key issue that they've tagged to that is 64% who mentioned, 64% who attributed to the high cost of living. I believe within the period we were doing this in March, relatively cost of living was a bit high in terms of household goods or anything that somebody was buying. The dollar was a bit higher that time, and it would have been attributed to the contribution to that wrong direction. Of course, unemployment, this is something that has refused to go away at 38%. Almost all our surveys, these 2 things are always mentioned. High cost of living, unemployment, then of course poor governance, mentioned by 27%. Poverty, mentioned by 2 in 10, that is 22%. Poor infrastructure, bad politics, poor quality of education, all the way to poor healthcare, mentioned only by 1%, and heavy taxation by 2%. So these are some of the reasons. These are top of mind. So in terms of governance, we had a question. We wanted to find out, now looking at the government, they've been in power over a year now, can report that the presidency, or the president in itself, not the president, the president scored a mean rating of 52%, which gives him a C constant grade. His deputy scored 48%, which gives him a D, constant D. The National Assembly scored 53%, which gives them a score of C. The Senate tried. They would have gone to the university with a grade of B constant. That's the Senate. Judiciary would have also scaled through to the institution of higher learning because they scored 67% using that education grading. And the opposition scored 62%. They've also earned a B. The cabinet secretaries collectively, the 23 of them, scored a B constant. So they've also would have scaled. But overall ratings for the entire government stands at a C, which is much better with what they scored last, which was an overall D constant. Our last question or issue that we wanted to find out from Kenyans was the former Prime Minister's bid to contest for the African Union Commission chairmanship, or the chairperson's seat. 81% support his bid, with only 16% not supporting and 3% they don't know whether to support or to object his bid. So relatively high support. And if we check it by region, he's getting the highest support from Nairobi at 88%, followed by Rift Valley at 85%. I don't know why. And 83% from Nyanza. The least support is only getting from northeastern, that is 64%, but it's quite still high. It's above the majority. And of course, I think because they have the highest of those that do not know. One, they don't support, still the highest at 23, and they are torn between, they are undecided at 13%. So you can see here, but also if you check by gender, more female support his bid. That is 84% compared to 79% of male. And of course, you can see the younger folks, those that are below 30 or 45, or if we even extend to up to 55%, are supporting his bid in the marks of 80s, but the least is those that are 55%. They are the ones who, in as much as they give him a 76%, it's the least amongst the age bands. And that marks the end of our release today. We thank you very much. If at all there are questions.